Hey everybody, David Lewis here. Stan with Total Ink Solutions has joined us as well. Stan, can you take a minute and tell us a little bit about Total Ink Solutions? How are you today?
I'm pretty good. How's everyone doing today? My
Um,
name is Stan Banks. I'm with Total Ink Solutions. We are ink manufacturer based out of Hackensack, New Jersey. In addition to inks, we really tried to become a one-stop shop for everybody in the screen printing and heat pressing industry. And we're glad to have be bringing Flexsoft and the Forever paper on board.
Thanks, Stan. So at Total Ink, you guys currently are doing a lot of work with vinyl as well, right?
Yes, no question. About most of our business has been in the ink industry, but since we've bought on heat press vinyl, everything has ramped up. Our showroom, we're one of the only showrooms that showcases every single Caesar product that is available. And we also added on some additions in Shimmica and other heat transfer fields to try to mesh everything together and get some flexibility that you don't find everywhere else. So a lot of our business now is starting to pick up with the heat transfer field, and then you guys come and fit right in.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Stan, appreciate you taking the time to let us do this. You know, I kind of feel a little bit like the motivational speaker. You know, he was talking to a group of people up on stage and said, you know, what book has had the most profound effect on your life? And everybody's raising their hand. He picks a lady back a few rows, and she jumps up and says, "My husband's checkbook." So, you know, we want to welcome everybody, and today we're going to be talking about the Forever product line, the Flexsoft product in particular. This is a product that we really see as an excellent fit into the vinyl and the print and cut kind of marketplace. You know, we do a lot of these different trade shows. You know, I'm standing up there and I'm saying to people, no cut, no weed. And they're like, yeah, I want to hear about this. I want to know about this. Because nobody likes to cut and weed. I mean, you know, it's like, who do you get to do the cut and weeding? Well, whoever's the lowest on the totem pole. You know, my son, my daughter, my wife, you know, whoever is, you know, is down on the totem pole, because people just really are tired of doing that. So what we want to try and do today is to bring a little knowledge in terms of what these products are and what they mean for you. You know, we want to talk a bit about what is Flexsoft. It's, you know, it's a new product. I don't think a lot of people have a full understanding of what that product is. So we want to try and answer that question. We also want to try and answer the question about how that product fits into the market. You know, how does it compare with vinyl? How is it going to benefit my business? You know, I'm doing vinyl now. You know, what can I do with this that I can't do with vinyl? Or, you know, what other benefit does it bring to me that that maybe I've not even considered before? And so these are some areas where we want to, you know, try and bring a little light in and help people to understand. Then we also want to talk about some of the advanced features. You know, there's some aspects to this product that people can use that may be, you know, something that they've not even considered before because of what it can do versus, you know, where they've traditionally been working. Then, so we're going to go through those areas first, and then kind of after that, we want to sort of get into how it works. So we're going to try and do some demonstrations here, and you know, talk with people, you know, about how it works and what it can do in that regard. Then we're going to end up with questions and answers. You know, we've got the chat room open. Everybody's encouraged to ask questions. Stan, you're going to be monitoring those questions and try and feed them into the group and help us get answers out, right, sir? Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, so I'm David Lewis. I'm with AW Specialty. we're here today at AW Labs. I wanted to take just a moment to talk about that because, you know, one of the things that we've done is we've really put together a real type of a laboratory environment so that we can, you know, try this stuff out on all of the different substrates, you know, various garment types, things like that. We've got several different heat presses, large and small. We've got a number of different printers, from the Canon to the Uninet to the Ghost to the 711, the Oki 610. I've got some Brother printers, HP printers. We've got a ton of printers here, and we want to make sure that we know how things work so that we can support, you know, our customers and their customers in the marketplace. So today we're going to be talking about Flexsoft. Let me show you an example here. This is, this is a sample shirt that has all of the different colors, and let's take a little closer look at this. So here we've got examples that show you both in terms of what the colors are and what the capabilities are. You know, Flexsoft is a clear film with a color coating. This color coating holds to the film, but it really bonds tightly with toner. You know, it has a very strong attraction, a very strong bond with toner. It also bonds very tightly to the toner bonds very tightly with the adhesive sheet, but the color coating won't bond to the adhesive at all. So this bond, this toner bond, is really what does all the cutting and weeding for us. So the toner sticks to the coating that has the color. The toner sticks to the adhesive that's on this two-step media, but the color and the adhesive themselves don't stick to each other. Currently, it's available in about 20 colors. I say about because they're constantly adding new ones to it. We've got metallics, we've got neons, we have the regular colors, and there's several more that are in making at this point. You know, it's a low temperature product, so it can be used with a broad range of substrate types as well. You know, it has a low cost. These printers, the little Canon printer that we're going to be working with today is a printer that sells in around the $100 price range. There's a variety of ones that are available. You don't have much to stock. You know, you're just looking at boxes of material. You have the ability to use this on polyesters and leathers, polypropylene, rayon, nylon, cottons, cotton poly blends. You know, it's the low temperature aspect of the adhesive is really what makes that possible, but also the hardness of the adhesive is what gives it a really good wash fastness. You know, that adhesive bonds to the toner and color, bonding it strongly to the shirt, where you can wash this and get very good results with it. And the technology does all the cutting and weeding. I mean, you just need to be able to print this with a standard laser printer, and the cutting and weeding is done for you. And that gives you the ability to have an exact calculation when it comes to quoting jobs to your customer. You know, as it used to be, a customer would come in and say, how much is a t-shirt? You would say, let me see your artwork. And, you know, this person's shirt is $30, this person's shirt's $15, and that's all based on some arbitrary number estimate that you make on the amount of work that's involved. You know, with this, the artwork is no longer a contributing factor to that. You can give a price, and if it's a really simple shirt, do it in vinyl. And if it's a more complex one, do it in the Flexsoft. And there's no need for any special software. You know, if you're working with vinyl, of course, you've got to have their artwork into your cutting machine, and that requires special software, special skills. You know, here we're working with just regular design software. And that, of course, saves time. I mean, it gives you the ability to take their artwork, print it out, put it on a shirt, and give it to them in 5 to 10 minutes versus, you know, the amount of work involved in reworking artwork for cutting it. And it's a nice product. You know, toner's about 5 microns thick. You add a little bit of the color layer, a little bit of the adhesive layer, and you still have a very, very thin amount of material on the garment. That creates a nice, soft touch and gives the users a garment that feels good to wear. You know, what we're seeing in business is, you know, more and more of this complexity. Let me show you this example. You know, here's a customer who has designed a piece of artwork that they really love. You know, they're really attached to this. This is what I want, and I'm willing to spend money to get it. But, you know, in a typical vinyl shop, you're talking about, you know, I can do this for a lot less, but that's not what the customers want. And so what happens? I mean, you know, you're losing those customers to your competitors. And you have the opportunity to actually be the competitor, you know, in this particular case. Not only can you do the artwork, but you can upgrade it, you know, get them into a neon color, get them into a higher quality of garment, and they're willing to spend even more. And this is what you can use to really, you know, improve your customers. And here we go. Here's our example. You know, let's take a real close look at it here. So this is the neon pink color, and if you look at this under a black light, you know, it gives you a really nice glow effect to it. So it, you know, it kind of upgrades what the customers can expect to see. And then this is really fine detail. I mean, you look at the little tiny pieces with this, and you're really talking about stuff that you could just never do, you know, in a traditional vinyl aspect. So, you know, looking at how this product fits into the market, are we getting any questions at this point? Okay, perfect. All right. So, you know, Flexsoft can fit into the market right alongside of vinyl because you can then choose how you want to do the work. You know, if you're doing a job that's really simple, numbers, something like that, maybe you want to go ahead and cut it and put it in vinyl. But when you get these complex jobs, you can now move them into, you know, this type of a system where you can work with it in an easier fashion. One of the things that we've been asked a lot is, you know, what about these really complex kinds of designs? You know, what kind of, you know, sort of advanced capability can we use with this over, you know, traditional methods? An example of that is something that the folks at Forever have put together. You know, they've developed a new ActionScript that can be used with photographs to give, you know, some really cool effects. Here's one here. So you can go to the Black Toner Transfer site and you can download their ActionScript. And what it does, it loads into the popular products, CorelDRAW, I think. This is the one that's in Photoshop. So you load this ActionScript into Photoshop, and you basically can create a design. You fill your page with a black background, and then you can drag in your picture, even one as ugly as this. All right? I mean, you got to admit, that looks pretty strange. But, you know, what you can do with this is really kind of cool. So I can, I can take a brush and black out all of the areas that I don't want in the design. And then once I've narrowed it down to, just the part that I want to work with, then we call on this ActionScript. That's the free tool from Forever. You run that and it will increase the contrast for you. It'll then automatically convert it into a grayscale. It automatically applies the screening to the design to create the dot pattern. Then it will invert it with a transparent background and give you the ability to just simply save that as a PDF file. So you've taken this, this really, kind of crazy looking picture, and you've turned it into, a piece of art. So Christopher from Forever has came in to work with us to print this. Let's watch him do that.
Hello everyone, I'm Christopher from Forever Heat Transfer Papers Germany. I'm here right now at AW Specialty Papers in Chicago, and today I want to show you something special. We're going to want to print a face in halftone with Flexsoft gold onto a hoodie. What we're going to have over here is our two paper system Flexsoft in metallic gold. So this is the A foil printed on the back side of the paper. This here is the B paper with the white opacity layer. So what we're going to do after we print the image, we're going to press it under our heat press with 275 degrees Fahrenheit. So the first thing we're going to do is we place down the A foil with the printed side facing up, putting the B paper with the print facing up as well on top of it. We cover it with some parchment, silicone paper, or even copy paper, whatever we have at hand. So to create a photograph in halftones, there's this pretty neat function in Photoshop. We create an ActionScript that you can find on www.whitetonertransfer.com. It's completely for free, easy to use. It's just a double click to install it in Photoshop CS6 or CC. And it's basically just 3 steps. Load in the image, make it grayscale, increase brightness and contrast to your likings, and just push the raster button. That does it automatically. Swing away heat presses, you get full access to your design. Little trick to peel it off is just grab one corner, lift it slightly up so you don't burn your fingers, and then peel it in a slow, fluid movement. There we go. Make sure your lower platen is preheated to get a consistent result every time. And there we go. And here we do have the white opaque adhesive layer on the backside of our toner. So what we have to do now is trim the edges, just like that. Take a good pair of scissors and just go around once. That's all the cutting we need to do. There we go. In case we forget to trim it off, this will land on our textile, but we can remove it later on as well. There's a little trick for that. So we just make sure that we place it wherever we would like to have it, facing up. Cover it with some parchment and press it with, again, medium to firm pressure in between 10 and 30 seconds. In this case, we press 30 seconds because it's a garment that we like to wash and wear quite long. When it's something like a bag that we just want to carry around, we can even work with about 10 seconds because this doesn't get washed anyway. So the longer you press, the better your washability will be. And 30. We lift it up. It's a cold peel. So what we're going to do is we remove it from the heat press. There we go. Make sure we don't lift it up accidentally, so we don't wave around, because then we could lose fine details. And wait until it's cold. When we peel it off, I recommend a flat and very tight angle. Just roll it off like that. Some of you might recognize the face already. It's David Lewis from AW Specialty Papers. A little trick when you peel it off, let me just put the microphone over there, are these crackling noises. When you hold it tight, there's just a slight crackling noise. When you peel it like with a high angle, the crackling noise is much more prominent. The reason I'm telling you this with the crackling noises is when you have very fine details, like in this case, you would like to have as less tension on the garment as possible. So that's why we peel it very low, very tight to the garment, so we can transfer all these little fine details. So let's look at our negative over here. So that's everything that came off. Impossible to read out. A one-off of our face is not worth screen printing it. So that's the place of Flexsoft. What we're going to do is we use a little bit of application tape. And remove eventually residues, work out the fine details. That step is not mandatory in every case, but when you have very fine details, you want to work out the details this way. So, I'll just show to the camera over here. You see fine little gold particles over there. These particles will come off in the first wash anyway, because there's no adhesive behind, but you want to give your client a nice shirt, cleaned up shirt. So that's why we're taking it off. Just put it on the heat press another time, just to seal the print. Right now, it feels a little bit superficial, a little bit like vinyl. Flexsoft is much softer. So to give it a very soft hand, a much better washability, you just press it another time for about 10 to 15 seconds. It helps us to drive it deeper into the textile. It bonds better with the fabrics. You can take off the Teflon right away. Put it to the side. Oh, there we go, ready to wear. David, would you like to come to the camera? Just to see how photorealistic our print is.
Thank you, Christopher. Well done with that. You know, he didn't quite get this lined up when he put it on the back of the hoodie, and I asked my wife if she'd like to be put up next to me, but she didn't seem to think that was such a good idea. Anyway, as you noticed from that video, this was done back when I had a little bit more on my face. What that means is that this has been washed numerous times. So I've had this at home. It's been run through the wash a number of times. Durability on this stuff is incredible. The metallics especially have extremely long-lasting durability, has a very soft feel. Another thing about that is that this was done on a hoodie. So this is one of these cotton poly blend type of material. Notoriously difficult for doing this kind of design on. And, you know, as you can see, I mean, this is really, really still everything in place. I mean, it's excellent. So the durability of this is incredible. Now, another idea that we've kind of come up with. Let me show you this idea.
Oh my God, that looks awesome. Wow. Oh my God, that's freaking crazy. Holy cow.
You know, I thank him for bringing this to our attention. you know, he's a designer that designs these shirts, creates these shirts, and he was looking for a way to do his own labeling. You know, frankly, that's something that all of us need to do. You know, why lose the opportunity to label stuff with your brand, your marketing, your information? I mean, you've got to do wash instructions and things like that. So we came up with an idea about really expanding on that, and this is, you know, this is part of it here, which is to create a brand name, a label name. You can use a site like QR Code Monkey to create these QR codes, and you can print these on with the Flexsoft and put them in labels on some of these dark garments. It's really kind of a neat idea. Let me show you how that works. So here's a shirt that we have where we've applied a QR code with washing instructions, and we've applied a QR code with a website information. Using the QR Code Monkey site, we're able to actually invert these so that they'll be scannable. So this opens up to our website, and this one, for example, has a lot of information in it, and you can see that scans to actually the washing instructions directly. And so these are ideas where, you know, you can use this technology to help with your own branding, you know, your own marketing, your own branding, and it's you know, it's a really nice thing to do. So now let's talk a bit about printers. All right. So the printers that we sort of recommend for this, you know, kind of come across a different range. You know, typically the customers that are starting off with the Flexsoft, you know, they're just getting into working with a two-step media. They're trying to learn and get the experience that they need on how to operate that media, how to do the A/B peel, you know, how to apply it to the garment, you know, what do we need to do in the artwork to get the absolute best results, you know, what are the capabilities with it, and to just swap somebody with, you know, with a big printer, big cost, and a big overhead is not something that really makes a ton of sense in that regard. That's why that we really recommend starting off with, you know, these little printers, like the little Canon that we have back here, you know, the HP printers, the little Brother printers. You know, those printers are available typically at around $100. And we love those printers because, you know, they're just designed to sell toner. So they're going to put down a nice thick layer of toner, and this is a process that, you know, that needs toner to work. So with that, you know, you can do, you know, things like these labels. You can do names on shirts. You can do pocket designs and some a lot of other types of designs, which we'll sort of get to in just a moment as well. Then once you're, you know, once you're ready to go to the larger size designs, you know, one of the unfortunate things when it comes to laser printers, the little printers have a little cost to them. The big printers have a big cost. So, you know, when you start talking about going from a black toner printer in the 8.5 size to a black toner printer in a tabloid size, you know, it jumps up to about $1,500. You know, when you get into that range, you know, we really sort of advise people to go ahead and move on up to a full white toner printer. You know, it's not that much more, and you know, you have the ability to do full color designs, full tonal designs on dark garments and all kinds of surfaces. So we really like to think about the Flexsoft with the smaller printers as a real, you know, kind of entryway into these kinds of products. So I think we've seen a few questions come by. I think somebody asked earlier about cost, what it would cost to, to do a design like this. And so this is a very nice design. If you were going to try and do this in vinyl, I hate to even think how you would calculate it, but this was printed on the 8.5 by 11 Canon printer with the neon Flexsoft. Retail pricing on that depends around $2 to $2.50, depending on typically the quantities and such that you're buying it. So basically, toner and all, you're under $3 to do this. So that's quite an affordable option. Another question that came up is in regards to layering, and another excellent question. I'm going to grab a shirt example back here. A couple of these I've got that that are pretty cool. And when people talk about layering, one of the common things that comes up is where we're doing something where we're using the Flexsoft in conjunction with like the laser dark, so that we can put specialty colors together into a single type of design. So layering this is absolutely an important capability. Here's another one here that's really nicely layered with the toes of the shoes, the strings to the shoes are the laser dark, the silver is Flexsoft, and the orange is Flexsoft. So layering these is quite capable, and as a matter of fact, it's easier to do than it is with vinyl. And the reason being is that it is a toner technology. So we're literally putting, a toner down and then putting another layer of toner down on top of that, which is effectively how toner works when you're printing it anyway. So they literally just press into each other. There's virtually no discernible edges or bump or anything that would be associated with that. They blend in so nicely you can't even tell where one layer starts and the next layer ends, kind of thing.
Can you, we have a question about the different finishes based on the cover sheets that you use.
I'm sorry, say that again.
So we had a question about the different finishes you get based on the cover sheets that you used.
Oh, okay, yes, yeah, great question. So, we typically have 2 of these sheet types that we work with. So, the most common one is just your parchment sheet. So this is a silicone impregnated parchment sheet that's going to impart a matte type of a finish. So this is going to mat the design down. Then the second one is a glossy, let's see if I can make it where you can see that. But this is this is a sheet that has a high gloss to it. Maybe you can see it a little better here. So it has a high gloss finish to it. And that high gloss is what's going to give your design, a glossy final design. I see a question about how does this fit into a shop that currently uses vinyl? Great. I mean, you should already have the answer to that, because I know you're getting jobs right now that you're doing exactly what that graphic earlier said. You're sending people down the street to the next guy because you simply can't do it. And this is the answer to that problem. Flexibility, crack easy. Again, the thing about it is that this is it's a toner technology. And I know it's kind of hard sometimes to really grasp how really thin this is. But I mean, literally, toner particles are like 5 microns. The adhesive is on the underside of it, and the adhesive heats up and melts into the fabric. and the coating of the color is on the top of it, which is, in the same range as the amount of toner. So, there's a very thin layer of color that is, that's applied. Now, one of the things I will say for sure is that not all of the colors behave in exactly the same way. Some of the colors, some of the regular colors, for example, reds, blues, yellows, that kind of thing, those colors do have a little bit more of a cracking consistency to them, whereas all of the metallics are made with an aluminum particle inside. And the aluminum particle that's made into the coating on the metallics has resulted in them having incredible stretchability and durability. So I mean, the metallics, stretch like crazy and don't crack at all, whereas some of the other colors, if you really stretch them, you will get some of that. Any other questions?
We have a question about what type of medium, specifically towels in this question, but what things can this be applied to? A lot of the other things, a lot of the other questions will be answered, I know, as you advance further and further into the webinar. So I was going to let you roll through, and because some of them are simple questions, like the durability and stuff of it. And when you make the other garments that you're going to make for us, we'll see exactly how it works out. So I was going to go that route.
So for for media type, substrates that you can apply them to, I mean, I would tend to say that something like a towel would not be a great choice, because you have such a nap to it that you really don't have anything for the the material to bond into. So that would be something that would probably give you one of the least desirable results. But generally speaking, the application temperature on this product is all the way down as low as 215 degrees. So if I'm pressing the A and the B at 300 degrees. As a matter of fact, why don't we do this? Let's go into a production example. So, what we're going to be working with in this production example is building a bigger sign. I'm going to start off using the IC split software just to kind of give you an entrance into that. This is a product that we've developed that's designed to help you split a big design for printing onto small printers. You can open up your artwork in this application, and you can select an area where you want to make the split, and let it calculate and split the design into two separate pieces. Then you can save this as a PDF file, and now you've got a 2-page PDF file that's ready to be printed. Now, typically this application is not the very best for use with these, but it works very nicely in this case. So once you've got the 2-page PDF file, you'll select the print option, and in the print dialog, you'll pick your Canon printer, and you want to go into the controls and select the density option and make sure that it's set up for the maximum density, in the job. Then once you've done that, you just simply hit the print button, and then that sends it over to your printer. Another nice thing about these laser printers is how fast they are. You can print these in no time. So here are the 2 prints from our design, and I'm going to put these together with the neon green color. And so the marrying process is step 1. Before I even talk about the marrying process, I want to approach one subject as well. Is where do we print this? How do we print this? Okay, and there's been a lot of discussion, a lot of places, talking about you know, how do we do this best? Do we print on the A sheet or do we print on the B sheet? And I'm here to say it doesn't matter, because in the end, it's going to be a toner sandwich anyway. You're going to have adhesive on one side of the toner. You're going to have color on the other side of the toner. So whether you put the toner first on this sheet or on this sheet makes no difference whatsoever. Now, in terms of final results, however, in production, it can make a difference. You know, we find, and again, I'm looking at this from the perspective of the new user. So if you're just coming into starting to work with this, you know, one of the things over the years that we've worked with this that we've seen is one of the most common problems is getting the adhesive to properly marry with the toner in the heat press. And, you know, when I'm printing on the A sheet, I'm trying to press the adhesive into that toner, and then I have to peel it away to get it to, you know, properly marry. We find that if you go ahead and print on the B sheet, half of your work is already done. So it makes it considerably easier for you to use in production because you've already got the toner married to the adhesive. Now we just need to marry it to the color sheet to start working with it. Then the second reason for printing on the B sheet is that I can print it right reading. If I have to print on this sheet, I have to print a mirror image of my design. And most of these applications, for example, you know, Adobe Acrobat, you know, a lot of them have no mirror print function. The Canon printer driver does not have a mirror print function. So if I have to print on this sheet and I have to print in mirror, I have to open up my artwork and flip it around so that I can print in mirror. So it's easier to get started, it's easier production, and it's easier to work with your artwork if you just go ahead and print on the B sheet. And then people will say, well, you know, do I run the risk of jamming this in my printer? Well, you know, I've printed with a bunch of these printers. I would say something in the range of 10 to 15 different printers have we run through, and I've never jammed one in there. But what the heck? I mean, we're talking about a printer that's about $100. If I did jam it, I'd throw it in the garbage and go get another printer. It's not that big of a deal, but I've just never seen it happen. So let's do the production on this. So we've got the dull and the shiny side of the color sheets. So we put these together and line them up. Make sure the B sheet's a little bit smaller than the A sheet, because when I'm pressing this adhesive, a little bit of it tends to ooze out around the edge. And you know, one of the other things that we recommend that you do is to kind of look at your artwork and find the area that has the least amount of print and put that down in the corner that you want to be doing the peeling from. Another thing that some people will do is that they'll just put a little twist on those corners just to give you a little bit of something to grab onto, because you want to be able to get a good grip on this when you're doing the actual peeling part. Then you also want to have an idea of what your artwork is, because you're going to be pulling this with a good bit of force while you're peeling it. But when you get down towards the end of it, you want to ease off with that pressure so that you don't accidentally jerk some of the toner off from the corners of the design. Again, when I'm working with printing on the B paper, I've got consistency in my production. I can set my heat press to 300 degrees and use that for all of the colors. If you're reading the instructions from Forever, and if you're printing on the A sheet, they'll have one temperature for some colors and a different temperature for other colors. This way you can have the same temperature for all. I'm pressing this for about 90 to 120 seconds with medium pressure.
We had a good question while you're pressing that. Are you able to do this on harder substrates like mugs and different things of that nature?
So when it comes to, mugs is always, an item that comes in. Let's say that we've got hard surfaces in one hand and mugs in the other, okay? So for the hard surface side of this thing, pretty much if I can get it into a heat press and I can heat it up to about 215 degrees or higher, I can apply this to it. But on the other hand, this is an adhesive toner type of a bond. And so, it's not really going to be dishwasher safe in terms of putting it onto a mug. Yes, I can put it onto a mug. It makes a beautiful decorative mug. You can really do some cool things with it. You just can't put it into the dishwasher and expect to get, usable or reusable results.
Right. So that would be something that they would have to hand wash. And a person here also asks, is it kid friendly? So can you use this on kids' garments? Is it kid safe?
It's a great question. And I've got the answer to that. The answer is right there. Let me go right here. So this is certified in Europe as Okotex, which is the European version of absolutely kid-friendly. All right, so I've pressed this now for 2 minutes. I've got 2 sheets that I'm working with, so I'm going to leave my cover sheet over the second one while I peel this first one. And it's just a steady, firm motion. And as I get towards the end of it, then I kind of ease off and let that go. And then now the second one. And again, just sort of let it fall off on the end so that, I get nice, smooth, perfect coverage with my adhesive. Okay, so when I press this, as I mentioned, and it's a little bit hard to see on these, but the adhesive will ooze out around the edges. So you always want to make sure that you trim those edges every time. Just to get that adhesive off, or it will transfer to whatever you're pressing it on. Any other questions to now?
Yes, we do. As far as printers go, I'm trying to sum up the question. Is this only for black laser printers, or how does a color laser printer affect the quality or the image that you get in return?
Okay, so to answer that question, first of all, this is just for laser printers. So we get a lot of questions a lot of times, can I use this with an inkjet printer? Absolutely not. You can't do that at all. This is a toner technology. So we need, what happens in a laser printer is that the printer uses literally static electricity to create a charge on the media, or actually on the drum, and that drum picks up the powdered toner and it sticks, and then it applies a bigger charge to the media, which then transfers that powdered toner onto the media, and then that runs through the fuser, which literally melts that powdered toner onto the surface. This powdered toner is a polystyrene type of a material, and the chemicals that make up both the coating here and the adhesive are designed to work with this polystyrene material. So, you know, plastics stick to like plastics, and that's how this technology works. So, yes, it does require laser toner printers. Now, whether that printer is a CMYK printer or a black toner printer, we don't care. I mean, all we need is toner. It can be any color you want it to be. It could be clear toner. You know, we just need the toner itself as the mechanism to do the cutting and the weeding part of the job. Okay, so we were talking about, you know, this being a low temp product. And what we're going to do today is I'm actually going to make a sign. So this is a foam core board, all right? And so this is a board that has this foam in the middle. And this stuff is really temperature critical. You know, if I press this at the 300 degrees that we're doing the AB marrying at, it reactivates the foam that's inside and it starts expanding out again, really damaging the board. It's no use. It twists. It bends. I mean, it's destroyed completely. And 300 is even less than most vinyl is done at. So what I found is that I actually need to have this down pretty much as low as it'll go. So I have this heat press set up. Right now it's at 219 degrees, which is you know, pretty well near the bottom of the heat press mark. I mean, this is so cold that, you know, I can put my hand on here and it really doesn't hardly even burn you. So I'm putting my two pieces of artwork down. Line these up right where I want them to go. And then I cover this with a piece of parchment. And we are pressing this at a fairly light pressure right now, because I'm just, you know, wanting to heat up that adhesive, press it down into the board, and give it a chance to bond. So we're going to press this for about 30 seconds.
Someone asked, is the material somewhat transparent after the matting process? Asking due to alignment of multicolor layers. So if the layers overlap, is it transparent?
I understand that question, and the answer is it depends. So you know, I don't know if you can see this with the camera, but you know, you can kind of see through it a little bit. So some of the colors have that capability. Some of the colors don't. All right. So for example, you know, the metallics are completely opaque. So if you're going to create a design that's a multi-layered design, and you're going to be using, say, regular colors along with the metallic colors, then you'd want to put the metallic colors down first because you can't see through them, and then put the other colors down on top. So we want to let this cool off completely, you know, this foam. So we'll come over here and now talking about layering these designs, this is an example of one that we will do some layering with. You know, I also have some pink lips that I'm going to add to it. So once it's cooled off, then what we want to do is get a corner of it, and we want to roll the design nicely away like this. and like this, and there'll be just some little bits that will fall off that you'll just wipe those away. Like that, all right. Okay, so now I want to add my lips to it. So I come back to my heat press. And I'm going to overlap the sort of the Irish with my pink lips. And then press it again. And again, I'm, 219 degrees is what we're working with here. So, at that temperature, I mean, that's just a little bit over the temperature of a cup of coffee.
I just got asked a very interesting question via text, because small shops are always looking to get the most out of our dollar. So the question was, can we reuse the A or B sheets and try to print on the areas that weren't used when we do it?
All right, so another good question. So how to answer that question? My recommendation is that if you're going to do that, then what you should do is you should cut the sheets before you print them. So there's two reasons for that. All right, first of all, once I've pressed this, the adhesive oozes out around the edges. And so I'm going to have that edge of white all the way around, which is, is going to kind of ruin the sheet in that regard. And then the second thing is, these laser printers, one of the other nice things about these laser printers is that they actually have the ability to print really small sizes. So I could take like an index card size piece and, squeeze the controls in on my printer, set it up for an index card design, and run it through. And frankly speaking, for people that are starting out, or for people that are, running tests with garments, I often recommend that they do that. And that reminds me of something I missed at the very beginning of this. First, I'd like to throw a shout out to all the guys from the White Toner Success group on Facebook that have joined this event. That's a great place to get a lot of really good information. If you're interested in this kind of product, we really recommend that you go to the Facebook, you search up White Toner Success, and join that group. And what made me bring that up is that we've had several discussions where that has actually been sort of the recommendation, is to take this, cut it down into index card sizes, print several of them so that you can try things out, because we do a lot of experimenting in that particular group anyway. All right, so let's pull this off. And again, like Christopher was saying, we really recommend that you roll this design away. So you want to get a corner of it, and you want to do a tight roll to roll it off of your substrate. And then again. So there's our design. And this is done using the blacklight colors. So let me show you what this looks like. Can everybody see everything now? So here's my blacklight. Now, what you're seeing is not the same thing that I'm seeing, because the particular camera that we have sitting here is actually picking up the blacklight itself and showing it. I have a lens here that's a blacklight lens that I think will kind of help you to see what I'm seeing, which is the Is that showing up okay? So that you can see, you know, what the real black light effect of this is. Kiss me, I'm Irish. Actually, I'm not. All right. It's a neon, yes. So these are both neon. So the green is neon and the pink is neon. So these are neon colors. They'll glow very nicely under a black light. And you know, this is a valid market product right here. You know, you go into a nightclub, put this up on the wall, you know, that black background is literally going to disappear. This sign is going to be just hanging in the night in the club. And, you know, for events and things like that, you know, people will pay top dollar for this kind of thing. And you can do that with this tool and do it in a nice fashion. And this is a, you know, this is a large size design. This is a 16 by 20 board. And we did this with the 8.5 by 11 printer.
So can you talk about how the white toner and this paper really fit together, and how what type of things are possible?
Ah, okay. Yeah, I'm happy to talk about that. So, you know, we definitely you know, see this as a progressive type of a product. People that that are looking to, you know, take the next step up from vinyl. You know, a lot of people start out with vinyl. You know, they'll get a little circuit cutter, and you know, they'll start doing small jobs with vinyl. They'll figure out, you know, what it takes to really get in there and do all this picking and weeding, and you know, how to take this artwork and figure out, you know, how am I going to print this on my, you know, my vinyl cutter. And you know, and it's just so much work. So this is a really an attractive option for them to move into. And so now they're starting to take on some of these more complex types of designs, and they decide that they'd like to, you know, to do more of it. And you know, when you're doing, you know, I mean, this is a good case in point is, you know, is our Chicago Fire shirt. You know, so this is pictures of people that's printed, you know, in white. So we have the white toner, you know, printing down here that you can clearly see, and it's mixed in, you know, with the gold, with the red, that the Flexsoft gives them the capability. You know, again, there's I refer back to the White Toner Success Group in Facebook. And there was a guy yesterday that posted a question, you know, how can I get a really hot pink with my white toner printer? Well, there it is, you know, those lips. You know, use Flexsoft to do that with. And by the same token, you know, how can I add, you know, full color, full tonal designs to my Flexsoft? Well, upgrade to a white toner printer, you know, like the iColor 600 that we see here. Any other questions? So we're at the point now where, you know, we want to open it up for questions and answers. Anything else?
So one of the things that I just wanted to add in here is pretty much basically, if you're already doing vinyl, this what I like to refer to as like a low quantity, high detail screen printing option. So, you know, when people, just like the first video that came on, when people walk in with high quality jobs and they don't want the 24s and the 100 pieces, you can really accomplish that and keep that customer with you rather than them going somewhere else. That way, if they return for a larger quantity, they're not returning to somewhere else where they end up getting that print done. And also, you don't necessarily have to upgrade or get very, very expensive equipment to do it. So, you know, it fits right in if you're running a heat press business right alongside everything that you already have going on.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no question about that. I mean, for example, you know, here's a yellow design that we've created. We just happen to have gone ahead and applied the adhesive to that, and you know, we're ready to apply it to our garment. You know, we can position this in place. We turn our pressure for garments, we turn the pressure up high. So we want to put this at high pressure, and we want to use the maximum temperature that we can for that particular garment type. So in this particular case, we're running this at the full, you know, 300 degrees, which in and of itself is still not that high of a temperature.
Earlier we discussed the 215 area is, you know, that's unmatched by any other heat press product. You cannot get an adhesion at that low. You know, you're going to be at, Caesar is one of the lowest, and that's at between 295 and 305. Everything else is 320, 350, 375 to get any type of adhesion that'll last. So I think that is something that is unmatched when you're working with different nylons and different things like that. That gives you that good option to be able to still press those things.
You know, an example of that is, you know, like this polypropylene bags that, you know, a lot of people want to do, and you know, they're doing them for events. They're doing them for weddings. They're doing them for, you know, for all kinds of things. And they'd like to have, you know, some kind of nice personalized design on them. And if you take that polypropylene bag and if you heat it up more than about 230 degrees, you know, you'll have a polypropylene coating on your heat press is basically what you end up with. And this is perfect for that type of a product.
Now, here's an interesting question. They asked if you would be able to layer on top of, like, the laser dark on top of Flexsoft and do it in reverse, or do you have to put the Flexsoft on top of it?
The layering order really doesn't matter. All right. The only reason that we suggested that you put the laser dark on top of the Flexsoft is because the laser dark is a transparent sheet. And so since it's a transparent sheet, it's really simple to put it exactly where you want it to go. I mean, you can line that up just exactly where you want it. Whereas the Flexsoft, you know, has a more of an opacity to it. And so it's a little bit harder to line it up. And so that's why we suggested that order, but it makes no difference in terms of production or final results, which one goes first.
Gotcha.
So we press that, we put it back in here. And it's fast. I mean, it's a fast, reliable process. Any other questions?
Don't see any at the moment. So one of the things that I was asked about the sample packs, what we've decided to do over at Total is we're going to put together 2 separate 10 packs of multi colors in it. So that way you can get it's not really it's a sample pack, but you get a variety of things just to play with. So there's going to be a basic pack and a neon pack. And again, you can purchase these items in as little as 10 sheets at a time. With that being said, you know, it's really a low cost of entry, and that sample pack will allow you to play with all of the different colors and show those varieties. There you go. Also, it comes in 2 sizes, an 8.5 by 11 and 11 by 17. We will stock all 20 colors in both sizes because, again, we like to be the one-stop shop. We're also going to bring in the 2 different types of parchment paper, the matte and the gloss, so you don't have to go elsewhere to find it. And also, as we discussed earlier, you know, if you're not using the right parchment paper, sometimes it can have a tendency to stick to your designs and things like that. And we really don't want you to have that issue.
Thanks,
So
Dan.
the website is totalinksolutions.com, and in the follow-up email to this webinar, we're going to blast out an offer for you guys attending, and we're also going to all of the top questions that you guys had questions about. We're going to try to enter those answers into that email, and that way we can answer some of the questions that you guys have had. So we have links and things to follow up to those questions, and really just give you all the information that you needed.
So here's the website here. This is the Total Ink site, where you can see they've got the printer and both of the Flexsoft sizes available. And like Stan said, we're going to be sending out an email with some special pricing, special offer, and then. Certainly, again, I want to thank all the group from the White Toner Success group, all the guys from that, guys and gals both, sorry. And any other questions or anything? Yes, I know I saw one go by asking about additional webinars, and we're absolutely going to be working on those. You know, I'd love to get your feedback about this one. I want to thank my buddy Holden over here, who's been kind enough to operate all of these different cameras and views. I think he's done a really bang-up job with this. We're going to be putting a lot of work. We put a lot of work into this one. We're going to be putting even more work into some of the future ones. You know, I'd like to spend some time talking about these printers. You know, I'd like to talk a little bit more about some of the other media that we have available, both in terms of the laser dark for dark garments. The Nina image clip light is a beautiful option for light colored garments. We have the multi-trans, both in the gold and silver, as well as the regular for laser decorating of hard surfaces. We have a number of hard surface options that are available. And like I said, we're constantly getting in new stuff, testing it, trying it out, and trying to bring that information both to the Facebook group and to our dealer partners like Total Ink Solutions. And I really want to put a thank you to you guys for putting this together with us.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We can't wait to have this product flying off the shelf.
All right. Anything else for anybody?
One more question. Hold on one second. Okay, so at what point do you use the different types of parchment paper? Okay, so what we didn't go over, you didn't do a final press after you pressed the shirt. And talk about how that really adheres it to the garment, because, you know, once you finally peel, it's a little, it feels a little vinyl, but that second press with the parchment paper will add the finish and mat it down into the shirt. So we kind of, go ahead.
All right, so let's do this. Holden, why don't you switch us right back to the pink shirt, the owl shirt, Yeah, right. Yeah. So when you look, when you're looking here, and there'll be like right in here, you know, you can see in here, you can see the little dimples and such from the shirt fabric, if you look closely enough. And those dimples, you know, are what you get when this thing really presses into the fabric, like right there, okay? So there you can see, you know, the fabric texture in the design. And this kind of highlights, you know, really two things about it. I mean, you'd never see something like that with vinyl, because vinyl is too thick. So, you know, you would always have, you know, that thick layer of vinyl in the design. Whereas here, you know, you've got these dimples. Go back to, bring that back up. Sorry. Oh. Holden was doing such a great job. There we go, right there. So you can see, you know, that shows that the design is really pressed down into the garment, and that's going to give you your maximum durability. It gives you your best wearability, and it, you know, it makes it literally you know, the aspect of this that lets you layer and lets you get you know, the nicest looking results. And this is the matte finish, pressing it with the parchment sheet. Pressing it with the glossy sheet, you know, you're still going to get a little bit of a matteness to the finish just because of the fact that it's pressing down into the garment. But the areas that have, you know, a sheen to them will have a brighter sheen, more of a glossy sheen using the glossy sheet. Any other questions?
The wash life, again, we you about the wash life of the shirt, the hoodie that you had, you know, after washing.
Yeah, we have found, especially in the case of the metallics, I mean, the metallics are virtually indestructible. They, you know, they go on, they stretch nicely, they last, you know, I mean, a tremendously long time. You know, on the other hand, some of the colors, like the, you know, the regular colors, the reds, the greens, the blues, that type of thing, you know, they have a little bit different composition in the color. They're not quite as stretchy. So if, you know, if durability is your #1 issue, then my recommendation is to start with the metallic colors.
What about the neon? Is that comparison to the metallics?
Neon is kind of in between the two of them.
Okay, got you. So one of the things that I like to, you know, when we're testing out garments, I think we kind of put garments through a crazy like cycle that's not even realistic. Some people will come in the shop and they'll grab and pull, you know, anything. At some point you can just grab scissors and everything's gonna fail. So just when you test it, you know, thoroughly. But then keep in mind of how a shirt is normally worn when you're doing it. So if you're trying to max out and see, you have to take that into consideration. But also, you know, just think about how a shirt is normally worn, and then, you know, you'll be able to see, okay, this is a great product that can stretch and is very durable.
Another aspect to that is also, and this is this is another good point as it relates to working with this in a vinyl shop. You know, if I'm going to be doing big numbers or big pieces onto a design, you know, there's really not a lot of cutting and weeding to that. And so do it with vinyl. You know, it's when you get into these intricate detail that it becomes difficult with vinyl. And that's really where this Flexsoft product shines. You know, you've got a better feel, you have a better ability for the design to stretch more when it's open and airy and broken up like those complex designs are. So, you know, as long as you know, if I'm going to put a big square block of any color onto a garment, you know, that's not going to have as much stretchability as a nice open, airy, intricate design would have.
I like to consider it. You look at a design and you say it's unweedable, you can now produce it and make it unbelievable, right? So that's the term that I used the other day. Somebody asked about I don't know if it's possible if we're set up to look at some of the samples of everything behind you. I don't know if we're set up to do that, but all of those are Flexsoft, correct? The
shirts on the wall?
Yes.
No, they're not.
Okay.
So they're a mix of different different types. I mean, for example, this yellow one is Flexsoft. My Hobbit shirt here. So this has the Hobbit in gold. It has his eyes in gold. So this is Flexsoft, but the actual face, the white and the white lettering is a laser dark. You know, this is a laser dark shirt here, whereas this one is laser dark with silver and gold Flexsoft. Down here is a green metallic in the Flexsoft, whereas this is the white toner with the laser dark. My Marvel shirt here, which is really marvelous, the inside of the letters are done in the laser dark, and the silver outline of the letters is Flexsoft. The Muhammad Ali shirt, the greatest is red Flexsoft, where the photograph is the laser dark. A lot of layered stuff here for sure. The Long Beach shirt here is hot stamping foil. So this is printed black, laser dark, and then hot stamping foil applied to that, as is this rainbow one up above, and the lion here to the side is also the hot stamping foil. This is a polyester with the Flexsoft applied to it, and I don't know if you can even see the Hulk back here in the back, but that's a neon green Flexsoft. Pirates of the Caribbean here. This has the line rasterization going up and down in it. It's silver Flexsoft for this one. Haymaker whiskey over here is black Flexsoft, and the Outlaw whiskey up here is red Flexsoft, whereas our Time magazine is Christopher in the silver Flexsoft, and then the Time logo done in the red Flexsoft, and then this is the line function rasterization using the laser dark media.
All right, we have one more question, and I'm gonna pose a question before I ask that. So while we're getting the answer to that question, I can kind of get answers to my question. So I have a question. We have about 36 attendees on there, and I want to know who's going to add this to their small shop. So if you could just comment, I am, or I'm definitely going to do it in the chat box. The question I have that was asked to us was, based on the color garment, does that affect the color that is going on top of it? So if I do the same design on a yellow shirt, a red shirt, and a black shirt, will that affect it? And I know I think I know the answer, but I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, it doesn't. So, one of the things to take into consideration is that, what does it take to make a decoration material for a dark garment? So, let's just take black as the case in point. And that is, you have to have some type of a bright white involved behind color. We visually see color through, a technology of reflection. So light reflects and it hits our eyes, and as it filters in that reflection process, we see that as colors. So we need some kind of a reflective surface, typically a white surface, to shine that light back to us to see the colors. And so that's what's in these coatings. The adhesive has a bright white to it. But in the case of the Flexsoft, that's actually built into the colors themselves. And so there's so much of the white opacity behind the colors that, it doesn't matter. So I can take white Flexsoft and put it onto a black shirt and get a very nice bright white result, even using black toner.
Yeah, so a lot of people want to know, I think we got a potential webinar coming up on doing the multicolors and making some of the designs behind you. I mean, that is something that we will work on together and bring you guys some future webinars, because again, we're all about educating you, because your success is going to help both of our success. So we're really here. We don't really at Total, we don't care where you buy your products from. You call us up, and we'll answer your questions. The information that we provide is free. So we'll look into, because of all these requests about how'd you make the Hobbit shirt, how are the eyes just that color, and how we mix and match. guys, we got to be mechanics in this industry. You know, you got to figure it out, how to layer and what works and what doesn't work through trial and error. But again, those future webinars are something that we can look into bringing and really just trying to add on to, you know, these great products and how-to videos.
Yeah, so you know, the intention of this particular webinar is kind of an introduction into Flexsoft, and I think, you know, I think we've kind of achieved that, and we've, you know, even sort of bumped it up a level in terms of some of the stuff that we've talked about and shown. And yeah, absolutely, this is the first one of these webinars that, you know, that we've done ourselves. And a lot of work went into getting this ready. A lot of work went into making sure that all of this stuff was going to actually happen the way that it did, and it did. So we're, you know, we're sort of pumped up on our end and thinking, yeah, you know, all right, so we can take on some bigger fish moving forward for sure.
Yeah, I think we kind of wrapped it up there. So again, guys, you head over and make sure you check out the White Toner group on Facebook. Also, Total Ink Solutions is on Facebook, our Instagram accounts, the websites, and we're gonna email blast out an offer for everybody who attended. We appreciate you guys for attending. We're glad that you guys are excited and want more tutorials and videos. So, you know, we really appreciate your time, and we're just gonna wrap it up here.
Stan, thanks for helping. Give my regards over to Michael and all the rest of the guys at Total, and everybody at the White Toner Success group on Facebook. I'll be over there in a few minutes, so I look forward to hearing your feedback. And everybody else, again, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Bye.